Can you dive a little deeper? And what do you mean by they want their votes earned and not expected?
Yes, I could talk about this for like 10 days, but it's assumed a lot of the time that certain liberal classes in the country will vote Democrat because historically those have been the people in elected office who have aligned themselves with them and shown them vocal support and some legislative support in the past, like when they were given the right to vote, and some of the liberal judges who codified, well, used Roe v. Wade has gone now, but at the time, some of those liberal judges had a hand in protecting abortion access at the time. So historically, we have been represented by the Democratic Party. However, we're entering a very strange time because under a Democratic leader, we have had a lot of these same protections that once were for us revised or removed. So going into 2024 without a path forward of making sure some of those protections are brought back, codified into law, at least some type of plan forward to make sure that the people that vote for him will have a safe space in this country in the next few years is going to be really important because we don't want them to feel like they've been forgotten. And when they look back on this presidency, they don't want to see those attacks be reflected under that leadership. If that makes sense.
How do Democrats do that then? Because if you're talking to an average voter, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they could easily say, hey, within the past few years, I mean, the value of the dollar has decreased. So my
Mm-hmm.
paycheck essentially is getting smaller. Roe v.
Yes,
Wade is no longer. So what can you do for me?
exactly.
How would you tell a Democratic lawmaker to answer that? Or what would you suggest?
That is an excellent question. And I believe we are beyond speaking at this point. This is going to be all about actions. And even though the Biden campaign or administration might be in campaign mode, they still have to recognize that they still have a good 2 years left to deliver on some of these protections. I think people are just quite simply sick of lip service. They can tell us anything that they want to tell us about how and will and maybe, and if we do this and if we do that. But I think voters want to see something into law, a bill, something passed, even an executive decision that he can do unilaterally if there's anything that he can do with his power alone as a president. But something needs to be done that they can have to point to on election day.
I do want to go back to some of the other numbers in that poll. And it feels
Mm-hmm.
like Groundhog Day. Obviously, the 2020 election was 2 years ago, 3 years
Yes.
ago, actually, excuse me. But I really feel there could be a rematch between President Biden and former President Trump. And if
Mm-hmm.
so, the respondents said that they would probably or definitely choose Trump over Biden. The number was 38% to 44%. And then against DeSantis, who was behind Trump, DeSantis won again. So
Mm-hmm.
would this worry you if you were part of the Biden campaign, or is it too early?
It should absolutely worry them. I don't want them to be comfortable going into this election, and I don't want them to make the same mistakes that were made in 2016. What happened in 2016 was an overconfident DNC, an overconfident DCCC that went into a race thinking, oh, this candidate is so poor, he's so bad for this country, nobody likes him, only a fool will vote for him. They had that type of ideology going into the race, and that made them overconfident, and that ultimately is what lost them the election in 2016. And that very same thing can happen if we reflect on the 2016 and the 2020 margins of the election. They are razor thin. Biden won by just 44,000 votes. We are a country of millions of people, and it was 44,000 votes ultimately reflected in the electoral college that won him that victory. If we look back on the 2016 race, ex-President Trump got 76,000 votes in the electoral college over Hillary Clinton. So just thinking about those numbers, it's something to digest and understand that this race isn't anywhere near over, and you should be taking some of the feedback that you're getting early on so that you can have time to pivot over the next year or so.